हरे कृष्ण। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नाम्नि नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाण्डिचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पश्चात्देशतारिणि जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. This is one important topic is how important listening is. Modern time, listening is replaced by reading. Although reading, in a sense, is also a form of listening because we read words on paper and thus these words are given in our mind as sound. In the end, but there is a difference between listening and reading. Difference is in the effect of sound on our consciousness because that affects so much of our consciousness when we hear. We should not underestimate because the Vedic culture, if you see all the Vedic scriptures, originally any traditional culture is based on hearing only. Any form of traditional culture is always transmitted orally. It's not anything written. This is the first thing we need to know that how important is this hearing that is given in our Vedic culture, and we all have to know this. And then, if you see that there is actually proof also that some many all the people who gained iti shushmananam, like they have gained, especially Upanishad. The word Upanishad means Upanishad. We just have to sit down and hear. So that is the meaning of Upanishad. And it is said that people who possess the iti Shumadhiranam, so dhiras, they are dhiras. But because not only information is transmitted along with hearing, very important is the consciousness is also transmitted. Now, people perceive the hearing process as a process of transmitting information or gaining some kind of information. But from the point of view, an informative book may be even better. But information is, of course, what people do is they do PDF reader. So they are hearing the book, but that is not, that is mission only. But basically, the sound, it has more subtle, something more subtle is transmitted by the sound, and it can be transmitted by other means also. Like whereas sound written recorded in the form of letter, it loses that emotional component. So the first thing is it loses emotional component. Say if I am now when I am speaking now, I put some emotion in it and I am trying to emphasize certain things. And I sometimes I say, yes, see, this is very important. Please focus. So immediately what happens? The emotional part gets involved and we become more attentive. This is the most important word, most important thing. So it is not possible to record an emotion. As a Krishna, we can say Krishna calmly and we can say Krishna emotionally, right? And that will be uh, another form. The sound will contain something more, and all truly authentic cultures, the important they take into importance the impact of sound on consciousness of a living creature. It is said that there are 72,000 nadis or channels in our body, and all these 72,000 channels, the nerve channels, in essence, these channels are their energy channels, which is called prana, which moves throughout our body. So, sound first of all affects them. That means when we hear, it is affecting our nadis, which is the transmitter of prana. If we were discussing on Saturday that There is prana vayu. So prana is transmitted through the body with this nadi, and they are the transmitters of this energy. They are the channels. And sound is affecting. Sound affects all the 72,000 channels. So when we sit for chanting, we're actually affecting our nadis, which are giving energy, and they'll make it spiritual. Therefore, sometimes we hear some sound and hair is standing on it. So excited. Some kirtans, we get so blissful. Though, and now, uh, because sound is included in the channels and sound works, there is one big channel called Stotrium. There is ear and it vibrates at the ear. So that is what is the biggest channel we have. And then the vibration enters into each of this channel through it. We listen not only with our ears, we listen to everyone, we listen with our skin also. In the sense, like music is very ecstatic, our uh, hairs are standing on it. That means there is something that is listening. The skin is also listening, depending on the rhythm, depending on the pitch, and a person receives something that penetrate more deeper and more deeper into the heart. Therefore, the first principle of parampara is what? Iti shushrumadhirana. That means one has to listen uh, from a person, people who have spiritual experience, especially. We have to hear from dhiras. Because along with the sound, a spiritual experience is transmitted to the person. That is another very important. The consciousness means the experience he has. Like, say, if I am experiencing, like, why we want to hear from very advanced devotees, it's not that they have to speak something new pastime or anything. Basically, the important thing is they are speaking something which is from deep of their heart. So that is why that spiritual experience will help us to transmit. Like Prabhupada lectures, if we see, they're simple, so many lectures, but it really had effect on so many thousands of people. Only reason because Prabhupada had that spiritual experience. Because along with sound, a spiritual experience is transmitted to one, and with the sound, a person's heart responds to that sound. That is the most important. Our heart should respond. That's why when we are hearing, we should hear with an open heart, especially when our spiritual master. And that is the reason music has that effect. Why people get so much attracted to music, outside music and everything, because they open their heart. And depending on the rhythm, depending on the pitch, everything else, a person receives something in the end that penetrates deep into heart. Like now also we can remember what we heard many years back, film songs also. Why? Because that entered our heart. Whereas if we read, it cannot penetrate so deeply. It remains superficial. It does not affect the depths. Therefore, the first principle is we have to hear, right? And like uh, now, how the hearts of when the conch shells are born, blown in the Kurukshetra battle, Krishna, the Sanjay is telling the hearts of Duryodhana and party were shattered. So, how different hearts are responding to different sounds. Heart on the battle of Kurukshetra respond different. When Bhishma blow his conch, his shell, although it was the sound of conch shell, the hearts of Kaurava rejoiced. But when Krishna blew his shell, the hearts of Kauravas they they fell to their heels. So Sanjay says to Dhritarashtra that weak hearted, they are weak hearts. Because each person has certain tendency to listen to certain sounds. This is another important. We have certain tendency based on our tendency, we listen also like that. And people listen, some people like classical music. Their heart opens for classical music. And for other people, they will fall asleep. You start some, sa and all, re, then they say, okay, okay, not for me. They sleep. So depending on the coverage of our human heart, it responds differently. Now, the same thing, the effect of sound on the battle of Kurukshetra, when Krishna is blowing his conch, and the wives of demonic people. Sorry, it is said that Panchajanyam Rishikesha Devadattam Dhananjaya, right? Now, it says that when Panchajanya was blown, there was miscarriage in the wives of the demons, the wives of the demonic people. When they heard this sound, the little demons who are in the womb of their mother, they left their bodies. They cannot stand it. And who are following proper order, they live for a long time. That means what? It's not just the consciousness with God we are hearing. Now, spiritual sound, when you say you open and you are getting Bhagavatam class, and you open, there is some other music or some movies and all, at least morning, nobody will be attracted much. But there is an effect to it. That's why we should always addict ourselves to this sound. Even though we don't like also, we have to always play and hear, so that our we get tuned to that sound vibrations. Now, and but who are following order, they live long, and others they prematurely part their life because of fear. Now, same thing, the sound of holy name. If you remember the pastime of Putana, when Putana is coming, Kechari demon, Parikshit Maharaj immediately become concerned. "Arey, what will happen to Krishna?" And Sukadeva Goswami says, "Don't worry, wherever the holy name is chanted, these people cannot survive." Now, the sound of the conch of Krishna, or the sound of scripture, or the sound of Omkar, the sound of Srimad Bhagavatam, the sound of Bhagavad Gita, is non-different from the sound of name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the conch, the scriptures, Omkar, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everything is the holy name. So it is all sound of Krishna. For the heart of wicked, it is like poison. That means when I'm chanting the holy name or class, if I'm feeling sleepy, we have to try to come out of it. And it is said that so when a person commits ungodly acts, sinful acts, and sinfulness makes a person's heart weak, and weak heart does not withstand vibration of this holy name. We need to, when we are chanting, we should feel excited. That means we are less sinful. More sinful means it becomes more difficult. A person has tampered his heart with righteousness. If a person has tampered his heart with right deeds, then when he hears the words of holy scriptures, the sound of name of Krishna, his heart becomes stronger and is full of enthusiasm. And we should feel excited. Yes, Mangalarti, chalo, run. We want to join Mangalarti. We want to hear the holy name. We want to hear the katha. We want to hear the kirtans. We should be excited. So we have to tune our mind like that. And so that means the listening affects a sound. Now, now what happens that sometimes we listen to someone and spiritual experience is transmitted along with his words on our heart, uh, but our heart sometimes denies this. No, 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 no. Like one time, what happened? His Holiness Radhanan Maharaj, he went to uh, in one temple in US West, and there was a Sunday feast lecture, and Maharaj took the song of Bhaktivinoda Tagore, Durlabha Manava Janma, Lobhiya Samsare. So how rare is the human life, and how rare chance that falls to the soul to, and he is born in this prison house, and and then after gaining this, I have foolishly wasted my life. If a person does not do it, his life is in vain, and dogs will tear his body, and and they'll feast him, and all these things. So now this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes how material life is a miserable. and we if we are not taking advantage of this human. So Maharaj just sang the song, and he just read the translation of that song. And what happened, because it is said that then what happened is there was one person who was listening this. He was a very rich person, because this is the state of affairs that is very much explained. And then this person, he got up. He was sitting in the back of this audience. He's a very rich person. He's an Indian man, fat Indian rich man. Got up and indignantly he hissed, making his sound in response. And he slammed the door and went out. And he said, "I cannot listen to it. Just completely disgraced." And then he said, "This is a typical ISKCON brainwash." And I don't want to listen it again. And then uh, the temple president, he went after the class to Maharaj and he thanked Maharaj. And then there is one more GBC of that place. He went and told to Maharaj that, "Maharaj, what did you do?" I said, "What happened?" "Maharaj, the person who left the temple hall slamming the door is one of our biggest donors." He is the important person in our congregation in terms of finding, and now he is completely upset because of your class. And Maharaj said, "Oh, I didn't actually. I only wanted to serve all of you, but I don't know how it happened." And Maharaj did not even speak also, just read the translation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he is telling that your body is teared in jackals, this, that, and all. And then Maharaj apologized. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. What can I do?" And then the temple president said, "Maharaj, don't worry. You just touched his heart, and I am sure when you come next time, he will ask for initiation." And after 1 year, Maharaj went to the same city, and then uh, this person, rich person, he came along with his family to the airport. Whole family came, received Maharaj, and he took him. And then he offered obeisances to Maharaj, and he asked Maharaj, "Can I get initiation from you?" So the what happened is, it looked that he is hurt, but it touched his heart so much that it started churning. Then he started thinking about it, and that spiritual consciousness transmitted. So this is actually what happens when we hear from great souls. So this is even if there is imperfection. That's why tadvag visargo janataga viplovo yasmin pratishlokam abadyavatsapi naman anantasya shonkitanyat shrinvanti gayanti grananta bhikshnasha. Even though it is imperfectly composed, even there are so many flaws, if a person's heart is honest, they will accept this message, because the sound penetrates deeper than just some surface of the heart. And although the surface will reject, inside Krishna, who is in the heart, he will rejoice. Yes, yes, this is the thing he should know. And no, he should come to me. The person is, "No, no, no, I don't want." But Krishna is inside heart, is very happy. So this is also another thing that is told, like, no, why book distributors get special bliss when they distribute book. When somebody takes a book from a book distributor, the book distributor experience a great bliss. So this one of the great devotees of ISKCON, I think she's I forgot Maharaj's name. He is considered the incarnation of book distribution. I forgot the name. If somebody remembers, they can type in chat. So he was giving class in Mayapur. So he said, "Why we experience that bliss when we distribute books? This is marathon, so something." He said that this living entity for millions of births is away from Krishna. And Krishna in the heart as Paramatma is waiting when this living entity will turn to me. And after millions and millions of births, one book distributor comes and tells to this living entity, "Go to Krishna," and he gives him a book. So the Paramatma in the heart of that living entity becomes so happy. And because he is happy, we get that bliss. He gives that bliss. Yes, yes, you did. I am waiting. Who will help this living entity? And you came and did this. So I'm very pleased with you. So in that way, a devotee who distributes books, he experiences the bliss because he has pleased the Paramatma in the heart of that living entity who is searching for Krishna. And what Krishna wanted, we have done it. We have pleased. So, and actually, what happened is Radhanand Maharaj, he wrote a letter, big letter to the temple president, that apology letter. And no, please forgive me. You are offended by my word. Actually, Maharaj wrote a letter to him. So he said, I just repeated the Acharya's words and I explained the nature of this metal world. And in the end, this will happen to the metal body, whatever we want it or not, whatever we accept it not. So then this is actually what is needed for all of us, that the sound should enter deep and deep into our heart. Let's say early morning when we sit and chant, we should chant with open heart. Let the holy name enter deep into our heart and consciousness and affect us. Sometimes when people hear the holy name, and the first reaction is rejection, and the first reaction holy name is, I don't want to listen this. There are people like that. But most importantly, the holy name is already entered the heart. And since it has entered, it will continue to act there. That's what Haridas Thakur, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Haridas Thakur, what about this living entity who are non-moving and all these living entity, what will happen? Then Haridas Thakur, my dear sir, Lord, just by chanting loudly the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Any living entity who are listening, they'll all get benefited. The holy name is entered and it will have an action. And it depends once again on the piety of the human heart. The very pious people, it is very fast. Because how pious the heart is, how strong it is. So the very important thing is that we should know that when a person is unrighteous, his heart is weak. His heart becomes weak. And this weakness of heart that Krishna is telling in the Bhagavad Gita, if you remember, Hridaya Daurbalyam, right? Weakness of heart means mm, weakness of consciousness. And that means the person don't want to admit some truth simply because these truths are too painful for him. Weakness of heart means there is this is psychological reaction, the reaction of rejection of truth. People don't want to hear. We try to tell them. I said, talk anything but not this. There are people like that in our relatives, we can see. They're not at all interested. That means that is weak heart. It will reject painfully to everything. And sometimes the statements of Prabhupada also. Wow, so much painful sometimes to listen. It is painfully hurting. So the only way to cure this weakness of heart is how? Which is the cause of our sin, our sinful nature, our sanskaras, our the only way to cure is to listen again and again. Shushusho Shaddadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana. That's what we have to do. Yes. So we have to do little syllabus. There's some important points from Prabhupada also. Any questions or comments till this point? Okay, we have one question. But since Bhishma was a pure devotee, how was it that the Kauravas rejoiced? Because Bhishma was on the completely higher platform to Panduputrana. So he knows very well that Krishna is already victorious. So wouldn't that affect his vibration? Should have some shattering of hearts of Kauravas as well? Basically, what happened is he blowed to give pleasure to Duryodhana because Duryodhana was too much diplomatic. He's going to Dronacharya and is telling, Are, see, Pashaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chanum Vidam Dupata Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimate. Your disciple Duttadumna has arranged this Drupadaputra, Putra, and then he's telling, okay, then he's telling the army of Pandavas and Kauravas and all these things. He's trying to make so much diplomacy and trying to motivate it in political diplomatic way. And Bhishma already had it so much for all these years. Then he said, okay, let it be. Let us start the battle. So to give pleasure to, so basically, they want to hear Bhishma very enthusiastic. They want to hear that Bhishma was ready for fight, because Duryodhana, if Bhishma puts all his heart and fight, there is nobody in the battlefield who can defeat Bhishma Dev. Duryodhana was sure about it. So he just want that Bhishma is enthusiastic for fighting. So when he heard, is hearing the enthusiasm Bhishma in that conscious, that's what is making all the Kauravas very happy. Yes, Bhishma is now ready for, he's so enthusiastic. But that's how they are happy with that. Uh, yes, Keshav Primantaji.
Harishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, what about the deaf and dumb, Prabhuji? I always have this doubt. Like, are they karmically so fallen that they none of the spiritual vibration can enter them? No, Prabhuji. Their only choice they have is books only. No, Prabhuji.
Yeah, they have to, yeah, that spiritual vibration, spiritual environment, books, that will definitely help them. And that is
Yeah.
one way safe also, because they cannot hear mundane sound also. So they cannot hear film songs, so they cannot hear. So if they hear, if they stay with devotees, take prasadam, take darshan, and read the books, they will make spiritual advancement. They will not have, they will not create any bad samskaras if they don't go for
But
this thing.
definitely, like we, our whole process depend upon Sankirtan and Harinama Japam, and now you beautifully explained about the impact of sound, Prabhuji. So normally we say nothing is impediment in bhakti. None of the material condition is going to affect bhakti, but definitely a deaf person is in a much lower advantage, no, Prabhuji.
Of course, there is disadvantages for him definitely, but
Mm.
it does not stop him from doing bhakti. He can still offer flower to Krishna. He can take darshan of Krishna. He can read Bhagavad Gita, or he can know that he can take prasadam. He can serve the devotees. So whatever is possible from his side, if he is given proper association, he will also make advancement. There is every possibility. Not that it will not make him, advancement is possible. Only thing is he will not be able to do everything what we are doing, and it is always like that only. They are handicapped in many ways, but still it does not stop them. And if instead of doing some material thing, they can do spiritual things also. Same thing. See, if we they cannot do material things also so much, so it will not make them more entangled. At least they are just uh, they are burning their bad karma, so they can create some good samskaras. Yes, there is disadvantage definitely.
Prabhuji, and another point is we are speaking about the advantage of piercing the consciousness entering into through sounds into the heart of devotees. But is it the same effect the material sounds also has on all our hearts, Prabhuji?
To the degree we open to it. Say people go and watch movie, then everything is dark and they are opening their heart and sitting in the theater. Everything will
Mm.
enter into their heart and it will create very bad samskaras. They wanted to
Mm.
have big TVs. So I don't know how much sizes, big TVs they keep and big screens, and they are sitting in there. They want to have some studio. They
Mm.
have theaters only in the
Home
houses,
theater.
home
Mm.
theaters and all. So that is actually very dangerous, because you're opening your heart to all this material sound vibration in a very dangerous way, which will more entangle. So it definitely have effect. We have to be careful in that direction.
Prabhuji, and about we like people like me also are preaching no Prabhuji. Like I have lots of still contamination left and still anathas left, Prabhuji. But only my consciousness will be transferred to the listeners, no Prabhuji. Like, is it okay?
We have to offer prayers before doing our any preaching program, to be empowered. That then
Mm.
that is what will affect them. If we are in
Okay.
a prayerful mood, then we can have maximum effect on the audience who are hearing from us.
Oh,
uh,
it is not
we
our consciousness. It is an empowerment from the parampara
we
that
will be
flows into.
empowered. Yes, yes. Even every class you will get, every college you go, you will get one boy or two boys or girls who will get connected, because they are connecting not to us, they will connect it to the sound vibration, which
Mm.
Krishna and Guru will empower us to speak. We should have a
Mm.
desire to please our Guru and Krishna, and not to get any material things because of my activity. and definitely some empowerment will be there, and Krishna will reciprocate.
Oh, then anyone can preach depending purely on the strength of the parampara and
Yeah, yes,
Krishna.
definitely. Yes.
Prabhuji, and final question, Prabhuji, like generally we say no, Prabhuji, energy can be neither created nor be destroyed, it can be transferred from one form to another form. So when we chant, there is a sound energy around us, no, Prabhuji, that vibration. So will that energy will be in that air atmosphere always there, or it will go away, Prabhuji? I used to have this doubt. Like we sit and chant in a place, no, Prabhuji, regularly when the sound vibration is around us for some time, no problem. I mean, it will be coming. My energy from my body comes out as sound vibration outside, no Prabhuji. So will it
Yeah,
be?
that area remains. Yes, yes, that area will be purified. That's why we have, na? We say this is the place Rupa Goswami did bhajan. This is the
Uh,
place.
uh, uh.
So when we make bhajan kutirs also, and we go and offer obeisances, because that potency is present in that place. And in
Oh,
Bhaktivinoda Thakur also recommends that every day you sit at the same place and do
yes,
chanting,
yes, Prabhuji. That's
because that has an effect, and it will be helpful if we are doing at the same place, sitting and doing chanting. Our quality of chanting will improve, and it has an effect. And some places where some people, like I heard, I don't know, I never did this, that I think Jagannath Das Babaji or somebody, they said that even the bigs used to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So
oh.
that is how they used to chant. So that's why we go to these holy places. Why holy places are so powerful? Because
Mm.
so many saintly persons have did their bhajan. So the
Mm.
potency will be there, and the potency at the holy place is in the water at the holy places. Because
Oh.
when you chant in front of the holy places and all the potency of that mantras are stored in that water. That's why we go to the tirthas and we try to do achaman and take bath, because we receive that spiritual potency when we go to these places. Like now,
Mm.
when we
Okay.
do achaman, what we do, we take the water and we chant the mantra, seeing the water. That means then the water will immediately get that potency. The vibration enters the water, and the water purifies. And when we take that water, we our existence get purified. That's why it is achaman. Achaman is not just water; it's the mantra what we chant in the water,
Mm.
and that will have potency. So all these people, the saintly people, they chant at these kundas, Radha Kund, Sham Kund, or Surya Kund, Chandra Sarovar. Immediately, that water has that potency, and that's why we want to take bath there and get purified.
And Prabhuji, like whatever we speak, whether material or spiritual, our sound vibration will be it is sent out is there in air, no Prabhuji, anywhere, like even 10 years
Yeah,
back.
material sound vibration also. Now it is cities, no, so much of passion,
Mm.
music, sound, this, that, DJ, this, that.
Mm.
Immediately it has an effect, and people enter into city, they'll become very passionate.
Ah, that's what I'm. And we
Yeah.
would have spoken bad words and all, no Prabhuji, earlier also. But I mean, I just want to know whether it is just in air and only those effect is coming out to us as karma. Is it Prabhuji? What we have spoken, what we have done, is it eternally existing here in this material world also? What our actions, our words.
They exist as impressions, Parasmataji. That
Ah,
sound
ah,
vibration is not anywhere there. But the impressions what we have, because creation goes means everything is destroyed, finish.
that's what.
Again we
Okay.
create new. Again
Ah,
we create
ah.
new, but the impressions will remain, and that will affect us.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful topic today. Very interesting and very nice, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you much. We'll do some justice and some things from Prabhupada also. Prabhupada has some very nice things to share. We'll try to hear what Prabhupada is trying to give. Sukadeva Goswami said to Maharaj Parikshit, now there was a conversation that happened between Brahmaji and Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Chatushloka is completed. Now Sukadeva Goswami is further continuing and is answering the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. He said the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, after being seen in his transcendental form, instructing Brahmaji, the leader of living entity, disappeared. So this is actually what Lord did. In this verse, it is clearly mentioned that the Lord is Ajana, or the Supreme Person, and that he was showing his transcendental form, Atmano Rupam, to Brahmaji while instructing him in the summarization of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses. He is Ajana, or the Supreme Person, amongst Jananam. All other persons, all living entities are individual persons, and among all such persons, Lord Hari is the supreme. So, Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. So, it's a supreme person. Next shloka says, on the disappearance of Supreme Personal Godhead Hari, who is the object of transcendental enjoyment for the senses of devotee, Brahma with folded hands began to recreate the universe full with living entities as it was previously. That means every time Brahma has to create, and every time he asks for empowerment, and then creates, and everything is destroyed again, he asks for empowerment, again he creates. Now, this is the job of Brahma to help the living entities get different bodies to burn their karma and continue enjoying this metal world, and some living entities fortunate they'll get out of this metal world. Purpose writes the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is the object for fulfilling the senses of all living entities, illusioned by the glaring reflection of metal energy. The living entity worships the senses instead of engaging them properly in fulfilling the desires of the Supreme Lord. And so Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya, there is a following works. Akshano phalam twadrishi darshanam hi tano phalam twadrishi gatram sangha जिह्वा फलं त्वादृशी कीर्तनं हि सुदुर्लभं bhagavata hi lokaye. O devotees of the Lord, the purpose of visual senses is fulfilled simply by seeing you, and to touch your body is the fulfillment of body touch. The tongue is meant for glorifying your qualities, because in this world, a pure devotee of Lord is very difficult to find. It is not for the Lord, just for devotee only that much value is given. Originally, the senses of living entity are awarded for this purpose, namely to engage them in the transcendental loving service of Lord or that of his devotees. But the conditions was illusioned by the mental energy, become captivated by sense enjoyment. Therefore, the whole process of God consciousness is meant to rectify the conditional activities of senses and to re-engage them in the direct service of the Lord. Lord Brahma thus engaged senses in service of Lord by recreating the conditioned living entities to act in the recreated universe. The material universe is thus created and annihilated by the will of Lord. It is created to give the conditioned souls a chance to act, to return home back to Godhead. So this is just one announcement I'll make. Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj is in June, March, April 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. We are having a Japa retreat by Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj at Govardhan Retreat Center in Vrindavan at Govardhan. Uh, somebody is interested, please send me a message. This is a very nice to improve your quality of chanting. You all can join this. Whoever is interested, please let me know. Uh, this is a Maharaj gives very nice understanding of chanting, and definitely will help. We'll have a seminar and some activities also to improve the quality of our japa. And this is on 6th Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Sorry, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of first week of April, this 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Okay, so it's प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठ स्वार्थकाम्यया. He says, thus once upon a time, the forefathers of living entities, the fathers of the religiousness, Lord Brahma, situated in the act of regulative principles, desiring self-interest for welfare of all living entities. One cannot be situated in an exalted position without having undertaken a regulative life of rules and regulations. An unrestricted life of sense gratification is animal life. Lord Brahma, in order to teach all concerned within the jurisdiction of his generations, taught the same principles of sense control for executing higher duties. He desired the welfare of all as servants of God, and anyone desiring the welfare of the members of his family and generations must conduct a moral religious life. The highest life of moral principles is to become a devotee of Lord, because a pure devotee of Lord has all the good qualities of the Lord. On the other hand, one is not a devotee of the Lord, however qualified he may be in the mundane sense of the term, cannot be qualified with any good qualities worth of the name. The pure devotees of the Lord, like Brahma and persons in the chain of disciplic succession, do not do anything to instruct their subordinates without acting accordingly themselves. So we'll just take one, two, so many. I think tomorrow we'll be able to complete. We'll just take two, three verses, and he says that Narada, the most dear of the inheritor son of Brahma, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control. Narada very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Vishnu, the master of all energies. For Narada was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees. So he said, Lord Brahma, being the creator of all living beings in the universe, is originally the father of several well known sons like Daksha, Chatush, Sanas, and Narada. The three departments of human knowledge disseminated by the Vedic Vedas, namely Frutu work, Karma Kanda, transcendental knowledge, Jnana Kanda, and devotional service, Upasana Kanda. Devasanara inherited from his father Brahma devotional service. Daksha inherited his Frutu works. Sanak Sanatan inherited Jnana, like that. And Narada is the greatest of all sages because of his being the greatest of devotees. Because Narada Muni becomes spiritual master Prahlad, Dhruva, Vyasa, and even a hunter, Kiratas, everybody Narada could do. And the Supreme Lord is unlimited and his energies are unlimited. No one can know them completely. Brahmaji, being the greatest living entity within the universe and being directly instructed by the Lord, must know more than anyone else within the universe. Although such knowledge may not be complete, thus it is a duty of everyone to ask about the unlimited Lord from the spiritual master. So the point is, Narada is asking Brahma because he must be knowing the most than anybody else. Similarly, we should also approach a spiritual master and try to understand the truth. And even we may not be able to understand everything, but the endeavor to understand the Lord should be always there. That eagerness should be there in our heart always. So the great sage Narada also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied. So first we have to please our spiritual master. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas. That's what Prabhupada is also quoting here. That the proof, the process is that we have to please our spiritual master. The schoolmasters in the modern days are paid agents for giving some information, but spiritual master is not a paid agent. Prabhupada's writing. And people now they demand, they actually even evaluate the teachers. Like in the colleges and all nowadays, the students evaluate the teacher. Which teacher you feel good? Which teacher you want to attend? So there is no question of any transmission of spiritual knowledge, just information that comes. And that's why people say, why in the previous ages, the very important point, please try to understand. In previous ages, now, the knowledge is given very scarcely. Only qualified people are given because they should not misuse. Now, why people like internet so much? Because you can get knowledge very freely. That's why people like internet so much. You can get unlimited knowledge, but it is not like that in previous ages. And that is not needed only. It only misuse, people misuse, and that will only create some bad sanskaras in them. That's the what is happening for people now. They lose respect, they develop something bad, and everything is completely spoiled. The system is getting corrupt because of so much unwanted information. But previously, it was given whatever is needed, and the person acquires that knowledge, which is sufficient for him to. Some part is for his livelihood, and some is for spiritual realization. Maintains proper livelihood, he is take care, and remaining thing he will understand the spiritual part, and he will go. He will perfect his life and go back, come back to God. That's actually what happens now. People like because we have this. inclination for knowledge. That's why we like when even I also, you open Chrome and immediately some excitement is there. Yes, let me search something. Let me try to know new information about this, that, this, that. This is actually a damage only. People they don't understand. They're damaging. I also know, but somehow the tendency is there. Hopefully, I'll slowly by the search can be reduced, made into more and more focused, more spiritual search. And as such is not needed only because whatever Acharya's books are there, that is sufficient. But somehow I don't know. Please, all of you pray for me. I'll overcome my search tendencies. I want to know more about this, more about that. So then it is said, Yasya deve parabhakti yata deve tata guru tasyehi katita yatra prakashante mahatmana. This is actually the way that is knowledge is received. What happens is, like that's why very strictly. That's why they were not written only. See, first point, no, we were discussing in the morning. Why the Vedas are not written? Because it is not for everyone. Any part is for specific. The audience are very specific. For them only it is given. So that's why it's not written. Okay, you need it, I'll teach you. And you hear and you memorize it and you apply in your life. And then he will apply and he gets realization. And if he sees somebody qualified, he will transmit that knowledge to him. And that person will see. That's why this parampara knowledge goes on like that. If you write in a book form, then anybody will get access. And because that, what happens, they'll only misuse. That's actually what is happening. And they misuse, and nothing will happen good for anyone. It's all corrupt. Okay. Thank you all very much. We'll end here. Andra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.